What's going on, everybody?
Yo.
Welcome back to another episode of the Scalability Podcast. And today I got my boy, Matteo.
In my season, yeah. Fell on my knees because I need them, yeah. Finally walking in my freedom, yeah. I'm so blessed, I know you see it, yeah. This my season, yeah. Fell on my knees because I need them, yeah. Finally walking in my freedom, yeah. I'm so blessed, I know you see it, yeah.
Welcome to the Scalability Podcast, your go-to resource for those who want to profitably grow their business and life beyond the limits of your personal time, energy, and skills. And you know, your last name is Olivieri.
Olivieri, yeah.
Olivieri.
Yes.
You know what's interesting about your last name? So my last name's Olivera.
Right.
And
I've seen that.
It's funny because like I feel like a lot of people who meet me, they expect my last name to be like yours. Like they'll or they'll just try to say Olivera.
Right.
Like O-L-I. Where does our last name come from? Because I feel like at one point it was like it comes from the same thing.
Yeah, probably. I imagine the genesis of it is it's got to be in that same realm, right? Like we're all like deviations of like some base olive or something, right? Because and then my really good friend his last name's Olivieri, so he just doesn't have that extra I in between the two letters. So I always kind of give him a little bit of shit because I tell him I'm more Italian than him because I got that extra vowel in there. I got that extra I.
See, I think I feel like our last name comes from Spain though.
Could be.
I think that this is like I think
that makes sense. It
originates in Spain, but also
you have Spanish roots. You have some Spanish. Okay.
I'm half Mexican, half Nicaraguan.
Okay.
But the last name comes from my Mexican side.
Okay.
But you know what's interesting about last names too, though? I have a mentor. His name is Richard Tam, and I didn't realize that Tam, Pham, a lot of these last names that are like Vietnamese, Chinese, they actually come from the same last name. But what happened was he was explaining to me like when they were coming over from the war, seeking refuge, and they asked him like, "What is your name?" And they would say, Pham or Tam or what, and it would just sound the same. And the soldiers or whoever was in charge wrote it down as they heard it. Right. So it's really interesting, man, where like last names come from.
Yeah.
But in any case, though, welcome on to the Scalability Podcast.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you and I had a chance to kind of pregame
a little bit,
which I normally don't do. I usually just like go with the flow.
You warned me about that. You said, hey, I'm just gonna turn the cameras on. We're just gonna let this thing fly and see what happens. I was like, I'm down with that. I'm with it.
And the reason why I do that is because everybody who comes on, I make sure that these are people of substance, right? People who through my lens have accomplished something, and not people who are trying to push something that they don't know about, right? Because I feel like there's too much of that in the world.
Right.
And so I just really want to start like for people who don't know you, right?
Sure.
So you own a company called AdSemble.
Right.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, AdSemble's a online platform where anybody can create and manage and launch their own electronic billboard advertising campaign. And so we launched that site back in officially came online about 2010. Yeah. So it's been a while. It's been a minute.
Dude, how long? Because I didn't know about these billboards until recently, the electronic ones.
Yep.
I didn't know about them because there was I forget the name of the company. But whatever the name of the company is, like I saw an ad, went on, and so basically there's like a platform now where you just like upload your creatives.
That's right. Yeah. So, we actually pioneered the idea of logging in, creating a campaign very similar to like an Instagram campaign or Google Ads or something like that, where you can point and click on different assets, different billboards that you want to showcase your product, brand, or service. And it shows the pricing, the real-time pricing. You can toggle a certain radius. So you can say like, show me all of the available billboards in Times Square. Show me all the available billboards in Chicago, something like that. And people can just like click all the ones they want, basically add them to their campaign, add them to the order. It'll show them the total price. They can swipe a credit card, upload the JPEG image, and monitor the results and track the results. So that's a big thing, is like a lot of people are like, well, can you really get good results out of doing this? Yeah. And we actually, in line with that pioneering of the whole concept, we created an analytics kind of system of measurement that like uniformed all the showings and the plays, and then people could actually tether it to, you know, unique landing pages or keywords or different like things that they want to track. And so that's how we kind of connect the dots on the back end, so we can actually monitor when a campaign is actually delivering successful showings for somebody's money. In fact, funny enough, we actually have some testimonials on our YouTube channel where people literally used Google Trends, and they could see before all their billboards came online, there was like no search traffic for their brand or for their product. Then after the billboards came online, you saw huge spikes in organic SEO search from people in the area where the billboards run. So people were obviously seeing them, becoming curious, and then like looking them up and clicking through. And so we tie all that data together so people can kind of see the total impact and the ROI.
Okay, that's dope. And so here's the thing about so I would call it traditional advertising. The difference with you guys is what's cool is that you guys have the electronic billboards, right? So you guys are able to be way smarter in how you can package things, and also you know, somebody doesn't have to fully commit because to get one of these billboards, right? Like a standalone static billboard. Like, what is the cost on one of those?
Yeah, and that was the interesting thing about being invited to speak at the HBN event was, you know, I remember they also had that similar question. You know, the historical billboard is a printed billboard, and you have to buy it for a minimum of 4 weeks. You have to pay a separate price for printing of the vinyl and sending a crew out there at 3:00 in the morning to put it up and take it down at the end of the contract. It's very, 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 you know, price exclusive. So like the barrier to entry is very high. So I'd say in a major metropolitan area, you'd be looking at like $15,000-$20,000 commitment minimum
for a month
for 4 week period. Correct. Could be even higher. I mean, in like New York City, it could be like several $100,000. So you know, the biggest players are on those kind of assets, right? Those kind of products. The electronic billboards, the way we've kind of like democratized it and made it more accessible for everybody is you can buy these things in 1 week increments, and it's a JPEG image. So you could literally design it on Canva. We even have a mechanism in our app. By the way, the app is opendisplay.com. That's where people can
opendisplay.com, ladies and gentlemen. There's the plug.
There it is. You know, you log into opendisplay.com, you can create a free account, and then you can look around, and you can, there's even a mechanism in there where you can set a daily budget. So you could literally cap how much you want to do your investment. You could do as low as $20 a day.
Wow.
And our system will basically spread that money out over the billboards you chose, and it'll display your message in accordance with that budget. So obviously the bigger the budget, the more times it'll flash up there and stuff like that, the more ROI you're going to get. But if you were looking to just like test it out, anybody could test that out at that price point. So we've made it really accessible, and as a result, over the years, we've seen thousands of people launch campaigns across the United States. It's been pretty awesome.
That's a beautiful thing. And what's really interesting, right? Because all right, so many people will think like traditional marketing nowadays, right? It gets it doesn't get enough attention, right? So like we know a lot of real estate agents who you know, they're like, or let's just say we know a lot of business owners who like, if I tell them like, hey, let's send out like postcards, or let's send out or let's go buy a page in a magazine or something, they don't think of that as like the best possible place to advertise because of Facebook advertising, you know, Google ads, YouTube ads, all this. But like my thing is like, I think, you know, I'm reading this book right now, right? $100 Million Offer, $100 Million Offers by Alex Hermosi. And the thing is like, if you have a ridiculous offer on a billboard, an offer, it's either how to make offers so good people feel stupid saying no, right? So if you have like an offer like that, and you know, especially if you have an ad, like let's say you are on 101 driving home from your shitty job in San Francisco, and you say something like, I don't know, tired of driving home from work and you want to make double from home, click on this link or,
Right.
go to this website.
Go to this URL. Yep.
Right. And like
That's going to get hits.
Exactly.
That's absolutely going to get hits.
So what is like the most successful offer that you guys have ever ran? I'm so curious.
Yeah. Well, definitely stuff in line with that. It's usually around product launches, like so a tech company or a brand or a label is launching a brand new product service, something that nobody's ever seen before, and it's if the brand is already like a well-known brand, if people already know the name, like let's say as an example, I'll throw a brand out there, just random one, like DoorDash.
Sure.
People know that brand. Mm-hmm. So if DoorDash was going to start doing, being totally random here, if they're going to start doing cannabis delivery or something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Edibles, I don't know, throw something out there, right? People know the brand DoorDash. Now they're being exposed to this new concept of what that brand does. That's an automatic multiplier in terms of like how much awareness it's going to be brought to that, right? Because you literally have hundreds of thousands of cars per day passing these things. And most times when people are stuck in traffic, they have nothing else to look at, maybe their phone, but they probably don't want to look down at their phone too long because, you look up and next thing you know, like there's an accident, right?
Sure.
So these things are positioned in such a way by design that they're high enough in the sky, they're angled in a way that gets your attention, you can be exposed to the message without causing an accident, and you can obtain valuable information, right?
Yeah.
And I want to make sure I highlight one thing that you mentioned because we actually do a lot of business with real estate agents across the United States.
Okay.
And especially like real estate agents that are bullish on doing flyers, like that's a huge thing in the real estate industry from all the realtors we've ever worked with. They're very, very convinced that flyers work. And I do believe flyers do work for that industry. Come straight to the person's home. They look at it, shows how much other houses in the neighborhood are selling for, right? So that's pretty good. And that can get them a lot of attention. But we've actually done studies where we compared when they did flyers to when they did flyers plus a billboard.
Well, I'm sure that,
and the number of recall and the listings went up like 10x.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, so you have the omnipresence effect, right?
That's what I was getting at, right?
Yeah, because I could just imagine, right? Okay, like we're here sitting in Cupertino, right? So if I'm in Cupertino and I go to the grocery store and I see a realtor's face on the cart,
right?
If I come home and I saw like they sent like some comps over for the neighborhood, if I'm on Instagram and I saw an ad running, and then I see them like at the gym. I'm like, dude, I see you everywhere.
That's
right?
correct.
That's the person that has been on the top of my mind. Right. And then even if I follow them after that, then I see all of their posts, I see their stories. Right. It's like, dude, you're the person.
That's the perfect marketing plan.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people, get a little bit tripped up on is they're getting inundated with like, no, Instagram ads are the best. Put all your effort over here. Newspaper is great. Radio is the best. The fact of the matter is, you as a business owner, you need to be everywhere.
Yeah.
You need to take your marketing budget, even if it's like $1,000. You need to chop that sucker up into like 10 equal parts. Maybe give a little bit more weight to something that you personally think is gonna like move the needle for you a little bit more. Yeah. Right. But throwing a little bit of money at everything will create that omnipresent effect. Now, obviously, if you're working with a $100,000 budget, that omnipresent effect is going to be multiplied by 10x, 100x,
totally,
right?
Totally.
But I really like when people come to us and they go, this is all the money I have. Should I throw it all in this basket? We train our team at AdSymble to tell them like, no, don't throw all your money at just a billboard. It's, in fact, a billboard's probably like the cherry on top. If you think about it, right? Because if you make this big splash announcement and you're going down 101. Yeah. And then you go online, someone sees that and they get interested, and they go online, they can't find your presence online anywhere. Right. You're wasting your money, right? You're basically spending all this money to get that hype, but then no one can find you online and connect with you.
I think what would be smarter, just thinking practically, right? Like if there's a company who's thinking about running ads, if you don't already have, like, for example, like your Facebook pixel set up, if you don't already have like all of your retargeting stuff set up for Google, for Facebook, for Instagram, for all these, if you don't have it set up already, then it's kind of dumb because like, what's the most powerful is like, let's say that you put up a billboard, and on that billboard there was, let's just say 10,000 people who went to the link. That's right. If they go to the link but you have no retargeting, it's like they can go and dip and then they might never ever see you or
You're
hear from you
correct.
again. However, if you had your retargeting set up, right, and you
keep
had
getting it.
campaigns, right,
Yep.
now they went to the billboard, and because they went to your website and then you put a cookie on their browser, now that cookie follows them around, and now when they're on Facebook,
That's right.
Instagram, everywhere, now they repeat and see the ads.
That is the absolute perfect way to set that up. So, we have great partnerships with other entities and agencies that specialize in that. I think you had like Thomas on the show recently.
Yeah, the very first episode.
Yeah. So we have a great partnership with him for anybody that needs content created and stuff like that. He can kind of spearhead that aspect of it, right?
Totally,
And then when they have all that rolling, now layering the billboards on top of that is just going to amplify all that great online content and like you said, the pixels and stuff like that.
Yeah, I also think so because earlier like I asked a question and you gave the like a theoretical DoorDash example.
Yes.
What's like a actual example of like an actual client who you have who's like, okay, this they ran a campaign and absolutely killed it?
I would say, let me see off the top of my head, there's been
Like, you gotta have like that one favorite, bro.
Yeah.
We all have that one favorite.
I would say there was a huge recruiting company, they're still around today, called dice.com.
Okay,
they do tech recruiting, and they did a massive rollout campaign like pre-pandemic, 4 or 5 years ago now.
Yeah.
And it was find the hottest tech talent. Mm-hmm. And they utilized this model shoot where they had these guys that were like kind of made to look like nerds in their underwear, sprawled out like on tiger cloths with like snakes wrapped around their neck, right?
Dude, that.
So they, but they had like glasses on that had like tape on them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it was a total like play on words, like find the hottest tech talent.
Yeah.
That thing caught fire on the internet.
That
I mean,
is
for
hilarious.
good and bad reasons. You had people on both sides of the coin saying this is the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life. And then of course you're always gonna have people that are like, oh, you're that's sexist and this and this and this. But at the end of the day, the good outweighed the bad. They had way more positive results. Massive amount of like journals cover it.
Yeah.
Journalists cover it. Like publications wrote about that campaign.
Yeah.
Millions of hits to their website as a result. And they consequently they kept it going. Like it was originally only going to be like, I think it was like originally set up to be like a 3 or 6 month thing and ended up being like a whole year long. Like they just kept adding to it because they just wanted to keep fanning that flame. Like it was picking up momentum. I would say in all the years of doing this, that was definitely the creative side of that was so incredible. And that's one thing that people they get excited when they okay, we're going to do a billboard. Like that's a cool thing, right? Mm-hmm. Then you got to think about, okay, what message are we going to put up there that's going to grab that person's attention, that's going to move the needle and get people talking about it, right?
Yeah.
And they just knocked it out of the park with that. That was a great concept that they came up with.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's this is how you get attention, right? It's like so for me, For me, it's like, okay, so we're actually in the middle of like planning out our next big campaign.
Nice.
So we have figured out how to completely restructure our company.
Okay.
In a way where, and the industry standard is the same way that like Outsource Plug has been running, where you end up. So we find people for $3 to $8 per hour, like that's what they want to make, right? Okay. And then we will mark it up, usually double, right?
Sure.
And so pretty much that's been our business model.
Yep.
That's like the traditional business model. Okay. So I recently discovered another company that came out of nowhere, and they were running this model. I'm like, dude, you guys are doing it right. So we're about to like switch everything around, do it like them, but I feel in a way, with the way that we're gonna do it, we're doing it with a little more swagger.
Okay.
So,
I like that.
So now our new ads are gonna say, you can literally get workers as low as $3 an hour.
Interesting.
Right.
Okay.
So to me, that's like billboard worthy.
That is I mean, if I'm driving home on the 101 stuck in traffic or somewhere in the United States and I see that, I look up, I go, wait, what?
Right.
Am I reading that correct? Is that like 3? Did they leave off a 0 at the end of the 3 or something like that? Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. That something like that would definitely move a needle.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Because that's just going to create that like curiosity. People are going to want to know, and then having a memorable URL or a phone number is the next key component to the design. Mm-hmm. So something that has, like, if you're not like in the DoorDash example, since people already know DoorDash, they could get away with having a really simple design that said now doing, sticking with this example, now doing, edible delivery in the DoorDash logo, and people
use code.
They don't even have to do that if they didn't want to, because people already know that brand.
Yeah.
But if you're a brand new brand, if you're doing a relaunch and people maybe don't know you yet, then use code would be really effective.
Yeah.
Or a memorable URL, like your URL / cheap labor or something like this, right?
Yeah.
Just something that, like, someone driving by, they see $3 an hour and they go, outsource plug, cheap labor. Oh, okay. Let me either take a picture of that, or that's easy for me to remember.
Right.
Let me go check that out.
Yeah.
So those elements are like super crucial for success in the design process. So,
and this is the first time I actually ever talk about this, because we're talking about tracking.
Okay.
Right? Not too many people I know understand tracking, right? Because I feel like you have to get to like a certain level to even care about tracking.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yep.
So
you gotta be a little bit of a data geek.
Right.
You gotta love, like, kind of getting in there and like looking at the numbers and all that different stuff and trying to make sense of it. Like, that has to be like, some people just don't have the mental like fixation on it. Other people are like, oh, that makes sense to me. I want to optimize against that. Yeah.
And a lot of people think like, that I'm like a sales guy. I'm very much like a hybrid between sales, sales and operations.
That's,
right.
That's how I perceived you when I first met you.
Yeah. And that's where, so like, I'm going to give you, like this example. So okay. I grew a cannabis delivery service. I was a big part of growing it. Okay. So their sales, when the owner called me, because I had worked for him previously at another company, and he was following up because he knew that like my skills had leveled up by that time.
Nice.
So they were stuck between like 30 to 40 grand a month. Like, it was just
interesting.
Stuck. Right. Okay. So I go in there, and ultimately, like, we completely like redid everything. We fired most of the staff, changed the phone systems, changed around like how that whole business like worked, infrastructure, new website, new branding, we completely redid it. But the main thing that I was like hyper focused on was the numbers of the business. Okay. So there's a lot of numbers like for the products and all that stuff. And, for those of you in the cannabis industry, your mid tier, if you have like a low tier, mid tier, high tier, just get rid of the mid tier. It's going to save you a lot of money on inventory, and people really only buy low and high anyway. So, but the part that, okay, so a majority of the business and cannabis delivery came from Weedmaps.com. Okay, right.
I hear that a lot, actually.
Yeah, Weedmaps is great. They're OGs. They're the leaders in the market. But the thing about how Weedmaps works is when you're buying ads from them, you're not really buying ads. You're buying icons on a map.
Interesting.
Right.
Okay.
So what happened was, when I got there, they had like 8 icons, right? And some of these icons, like for more premium areas, would cost like up to $2,000 a month for an icon, right? Wow. Lower tier icons would cost, like, for example, like Gilroy, Morgan Hill, not very valuable, right? So 300, 400.
Interesting.
Mountain View, Palo Alto, certain parts of San Jose, right? Like these different icons would cost way more money at a premium. So, prior to working there, I was working at a marketing company that worked with top dealerships in the United States, and like the big franchise dealers. Like, you go down Stevens Creek, you go down Capitol, like the big dogs, right? So like the franchise owners who have multiple locations. So they own the Ford, the Honda, the this, the that, right? They own all that. But what was cool, one of the things that I learned there was call tracking.
Okay.
So to this day, I still use a software called Call Tracking Metrics.
Nice.
The base price is like $99 a month, and you can buy phone numbers for $2.50.
That's cool.
A month, and then you just pay per minute, which is like it's super cheap. Like it's not even a big deal. So what you do with these phone numbers that are $2.50 each, what I did was I just like took it from the car industry and put it into the cannabis industry, and I lined up. I for every icon we had like 8 of them. I put a tracking phone number, and then what was interesting was I put a tracking phone number, and then from there I was able to track how many calls we got, and then from the calls I was able to see how many people converted into purchases, and then I was able to break down stats like freaking crazy, right?
That's awesome.
And another thing we did too was build up. So when a new customer would come in, we would already give them a pre-roll as a new customer, right?
Okay.
And something that I did was immediately everybody answering phones, like, hey, when you answer the phone, you are going to ask if they want to join our text and email list. They get 1 pre-roll for each. So if you join a text list, you get a free pre-roll. If you join the email and text list, you get both, right?
Right.
And then we eventually, if you followed us on social media, you'd get another pre-roll,
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
But what was really cool was having those tracking phone numbers on all of these different icons. Dude, I was able to play around and move the icons from different areas, and I was able to see, okay, in 1 month, in 1 month this icon generated 13 calls here. If I moved it from, for example, let's say the south side of San Jose to, let's just say like the east side, now we quadrupled or 5 times more calls, right?
Interesting.
Yeah. And also another thing that I was doing too was Weedmaps gave hits of every single profile. So like you can go on any profile and see how many hits that profile's gotten.
Okay.
But that data is not easily accessible. So I had a virtual assistant every single week was going through and getting data. So I knew who was getting, like, bro, I had data like crazy.
Let me ask you two, because you're kicking off my curiosity in my mind. 2 questions for you. Did seasonality play an impact in that? Like in the month of April, I would imagine massive spikes everywhere, as opposed to maybe December or something like that. I don't know, right?
Yes.
That's question number 1. Question number 2 is, when you were doing the rebrand, was there any concern from the higher ups that, we're going to have a dip in sales because we're changing the logo, we're changing the website, people might not recognize where to go, or they might think the old one shut down? Like, was there any like dip before the spike came back?
Nah,
really?
Nah, the rebrand, because you know they were only doing 30-40 grand a month, right?
Okay.
Like so it wasn't really even a big deal.
Okay.
Right?
Interesting. That's good.
Yeah, we basically ended up like coming up with a logo that was like a hummingbird, and then we turned the bird's wings as they're flapping into cannabis leaves.
Nice,
right?
nice.
So that was like the new thing, but. Coming back to the stats though, right? Like some of you listening probably advertise. See, how do you use that information that I just gave you inside of your business now? Right. So like if you guys are, for example, let's say you're buying tables and going to events, you could literally like put the phone numbers of the flyer, the tracking numbers on the flyers and give them out at the event. So if people call or like you were saying earlier, a special domain name, right? Or a special whatever.
URL,
then you can start tracking and, on your ads, on your, like literally wherever. So, and what's cool is like these technologies were not available to us as small businesses like a decade ago. Yes. This was like reserved for high level companies.
Big dogs.
Now we can all have them.
Yeah.
So now with that being said, brother, I as much as I want to continue talking about business, I
do this all day.
Yeah, we can go over tactics and everything all day long, right? But there's I'm gonna like, we got you guys hooked now. You're listening.
There you go. Let's go.
Is the 28th minute, and now we're gonna switch it on you because we can talk about tactics and business all day long, but there was something when Matteo called me. He was like, "Bro, I got this thing I'm working on."
Right.
I'm hella excited about it.
Right.
And when he was telling me about it, I'm like, "Bro, like, yes." So actually, I won't steal your thunder.
Well, I would say that when you're launching a business, when you're an entrepreneur, you put your whole heart and soul into that. It's your baby, and you will sacrifice everything for this project, this passion project that you have, because you want so bad for it to be successful, right? Mm-hmm. And so my own personal life journey on that path was I basically stayed up all night long, learning how to code, learning how to build websites, building relationships, biz dev, all this stuff. I sacrificed my health. I sacrificed time with friends, personal relationships. My family was gravely concerned about me because like I wasn't coming around as much. They didn't know what was going on with me, and they missed me and all this kind of different stuff. And I definitely was not making time for like just fun, just going out, having a good time, taking a little bit of time off, some downtime like that. So funny enough, like we had one of our biggest years ever, where we did like, I won't say the exact amount, but it was well over, $1 million in 1 year.
Yeah, nice.
And I'm sitting on an airplane. We had an office in New York City, and I'm sitting on an airplane, first class, flying out to New York, and I was miserable. I was miserable, man. I was just like thinking of like, I was like, is this what it means to make it? I have success in the company. I have lots of money in the bank. I'm sitting in this airplane first class. They're bringing me like a little tablecloth and all this shit with the food and everything, right? And I'm like, I'm not happy. Like, how can I not be happy right now? I should be so happy. And that really kind of kicked off this like other bigger life journey for me where I wanted to discover like why was I not happy? Yeah. So I basically have spent more or less the last several years now on the shoulders of giants reading things from Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Paul J. Meyer's life wheel, various different psychologists and different people's teachings and thoughts, spiritual leaders, all kinds of stuff, like you name it, just anything that would give me kind of like a deeper understanding into like what does it mean to live like a prosperous life, like have a life full of prosperity. Yeah. And so I've launched something on my personal YouTube channel. I call it Life Warriors. Yeah. And the Life Warrior concept is basically anybody like myself that is in the grind, and you don't have to be an entrepreneur. You could just be someone that's maybe you worked your ass off at, a tech company and, you've been grinding for like the last decade and you've risen in the ranks of the tech company and you're making $250,000 a year. But, like I said, these other areas of your life are really shitty. So it could be anybody, man or woman, that is just like yearning for a more robust, more well-rounded life. And so basically what I do, and it's totally unscripted. If I'm in my car, a thought will come to me, or if I'm walking down the street, I'll just pull out my phone and I'll record that thought. Yeah. I'll record. I've kind of narrowed it down to these 10 different categories. Things like I mentioned, spirituality, health, fitness, personal friendships, love, business, career, education, contribution. That's huge, by the way. When you get to a place where you're comfortable enough with what you have going on and things are like good and you can actually go out and volunteer and give back, to me that's like the highest high you can get. Because when you give back, when you volunteer and you don't ask for anything in return, you don't expect anything in return, and you see how much joy you bring to people by doing that, like to me that gave me a bigger high than like all this money we were making at the company. Yeah. So anyways, I have it broken down these, and so I'll be randomly inspired in one of these categories. I'll record my thoughts and I'll just put it out there. And what's come out of that is I've had a tremendous amount of people see these videos and hit me up. Like they'll either message me or they'll see me out somewhere if they know me locally. And they'll be like, yo, I saw that video. That was fire. Yeah. You're so raw and like so real. And I am. They're unedited. I frequently cuss a lot because that's just like natural for me to talk like that, I guess sometimes. Maybe I should work on that. But
but why? If that's who you are.
Yeah. No, that's the whole thing is I just want to be real about the whole process. And out of that, like people have been like coming to me saying, like, hey, I'm crushing it in the fitness I got 6-pack abs, huge biceps. I was like, but I hate where I work. I have like no career. Like I'm never going to move up. I want to get a new job. I want to move. I've had somebody else tell me like, hey, I'm doing really good. Like, I go to church every Sunday. I got the God thing locked down. Like spiritually, like I'm super sound, but like, man, I wish I had a girlfriend, or I wish I had a boyfriend. I've had girls tell me that, guys tell me that, like, like my love life sucks right now. I really want someone in my life. So different people are like at different areas, different stages, doing different things, right? And so let this, my YouTube channel, which you just search my name, Matteo Olivieri. I'm not sure if it comes up under Life Warriors, because that's kind of like a new thing. I just launched it, but definitely under my name, it'll pop up for sure. But, join that and comment on where you're strongest at, where you're trying to level up. And what I'm going to ultimately do is I'm going to be looking for other people who are experts in those categories to record video clips and add to these playlists.
Yeah.
So in this community won't only be clips, because I'm not an expert in everything. Like I myself am going through this process of trying to level up
Totally.
in different things. So the areas that I'm weakest in, like, financial planning, money management, those are areas that I need like a lot of growth in still.
Yeah.
I want to have other people come speak on those topics and bring those videos into the community and just, kind of create it as a cool place where people can kind of feel safe to like share stuff, be vulnerable, but then get connected to somebody else that like can help them like grow in those various categories.
Have you thought about, okay, so I recently ran into this company called Group.app, or Group App, right?
Interesting. Okay.
And basically, what they are a community software. So like, so ultimately people will find Group App because they want to like sell courses. Like that's like their initial, like, I want to sell a course.
Okay.
And the founder of Group App, who like I just was on a group call with them. Dude, I love the vision of his company. He's actually here in San Francisco.
Nice.
So shout out to Group App. But I was on a call with him, and basically what he was saying was in the course industry, the statistics suck because it's like 5 to 15% of people actually finish self-paced courses. So it's like, as much as your intention is good when you put together this course that you want to sell, which I'm not saying you're putting together courses, but
a person who's selling courses,
their intention is good, but it's like if you're selling like a $3,000 course and only 5% of people finish it, like not a lot of impact. So he saw that was going on, and he created that's what he created a Group App for, because when you have, and by the way, like, you don't have to sell courses. You can have like these videos, like, okay, for example, like if you have an expert who is a friendship expert, which by the way, like friendship expert, maybe to some people that sounds dumb, but like, dude, I didn't know how to make friends for a long time.
Same.
Because I moved from school to school to school. I never had long-term friendships, right? So like, yeah, but like,
I would say personally, that's the category I've grown the most in the last 18 months, because I've put a tremendous amount of focus and effort into reestablishing old relationships that I kind of let fizzle out, because we grew apart, people's lives change, things happen. And then going out and just putting myself out there in the community and trying to make new friends with people. Yeah. And it doesn't always click. You're not always going to click with everybody, but you find a couple people that you do click with, and it's like, hey, what are you doing next weekend? Let's get together. Let's go for a hike. Let's go, shoot some hoops. Let's go do something, right? So when I did this self-work on myself, I realized, like, man, that's a category I'm so deficient in, because I just work so much. Like, I don't make any time for friends, and nobody ever calls me to go out on a Friday, Saturday night. It's like, it's like, what the fuck, So I was like, I'm going to put a lot of effort into that. And I'm really happy to say, like, now when I look at it, like, I've leveled up a lot in that realm. So I know.
Yeah, that's why I see you outside all the time.
I'm out. We outside now.
Mike Lee, we outside.
Shout out to the mayor.
Yeah. So the thing about the Group App though, right? So what's cool is that so just like how you broke down all the categories, right?
Yep.
Group App also allows you to have categories on the videos.
Nice.
So like all of these categories, like you can click on it and have like a video library of these courses. And
check this out.
And not just that, but like there's the courses part. You also have a library where you can put like different resources.
Cool.
So like let's say, for example, like top 10 book, like maybe you had a resource for like top 10 or top 5 books for financial planning, top 5 books for friendships, that's a resource. Maybe another resource that you put there is, I don't know, just like the best stuff that like changed your life. So like even that video that you had told me to watch on YouTube, right? Like, okay, you can put that there. And then you have like a thing where you can put like different channels, right? And it's up to you if it's a free platform or if it's a paid platform. People can, communicate within there, and it's
Does it have some elements of like Patreon? It sounds like Patreon might be kind of similar, like in that you can set up like some free content on the outside, and then people can subscribe to kind of get behind the paywall and like get access to more stuff. Is it somewhat like that?
I think Patreon glorifies the person who is make glass, and you guys like watching me make glass, and you guys want to support me making glass.
Got you.
You guys are supporting me.
Yeah.
Group app is like community.
Okay,
right?
cool.
So
Nice.
it's like
great difference. Great explanation of the difference.
As much as like, because what you're talking, and what I love. Oh, whoops! I accidentally hit this. Boop 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 boop. Can we get that light back on, please? Sorry. You just gotta hit the power button. She got it. Yeah. But when it comes to group app though, like what I loved about hearing about your vision is that your vision is not about you. Correct. Your vision's about this group of people who have the mentality that want to grow.
That's you nailed it right on the head. The reason why I've been in meditation about this for so long is I really, really wanted to put this information and access to this group out there and make it about other people. Yeah. Right. So like, it's because it's like everybody's journey. Yeah. And like I said before, like I don't have it all figured out. Like I'm very much still, people always see me wear this cross around my neck. They go, you're such a holy man. It's like, no, because I fuck up a lot. Yeah. I mess up every single day, man. I need forgiveness. I need prayer. I need I'm always trying to, get better in everything I do. Right.
100%.
And so I just felt like I could get further. I felt like I could get further along in the areas where I was deficient if I was willing to be vulnerable and put some of that information out there in these categories. Not only share information I've learned where I think I'm strong and be like, yo, this worked for me. Try this out, guys. Hey, this is an experience I had. It was kind of dope. Like, what do you think about this? Like, not only cool stuff like that, but also being like, yo, man, I don't know what the fuck to do in this situation. Like, what should I do over here? Like, I'm trying to figure this out. I'll let you guys know how it goes. Yeah. And then people like comment like, hey, go check this out. People I don't even know from like all over the world. That's the power of the internet. That's what it can do for you. So, I guess I just in my mind, I was just like, well, I could either go out this struggle all by myself and just internalize everything and never show anybody like my weakness, or I could just put it all out there and just see what happens. Yeah. And to my surprise, people were willing to comment and be encouraging and be helpful. So then I was like, okay, cool. Now how could I take that? I can't be the only one going through this process. Yeah. So how could I take what I'm experiencing and kind of build a community sense around it? Mm-hmm. And I kicked around a lot of different names, but I mean the name Life Warrior just kind of struck me because it's like you're in life, but it's like, what is a warrior? Warrior is like someone that goes to battle, someone that puts the war paint on. It's like it's in the fight, right? Yeah. But we're not in the fight to kill someone. We're in the fight just to have a well-rounded, prosperous life, a fulfilled life. And so it's not just about crushing it only in business. It's about crushing it in health and relationships and family and everything. And if you can fucking max out in all those things, I think you could go to your grave very satisfied. That's what I believe.
I hope that you make your next $1 million through this.
Thank you.
Because that's the thing is when you're talking about it, I'm like, my mind just goes to lifewarriors.com or lifewarriors.org. Yeah. It's bigger than a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
It's so much bigger than a YouTube channel. And it's like a lot of what you're doing. Like, dude, I've paid thousands of dollars for self-improvement. Wow. I've Tony Robbins, $1,000 for tickets to go to the, I think that, that's the one investment that I've made time and time again that has paid me dividends.
I'm huge fan of Tony Robbins, huge fan of, Jim Rohn, all these guys, right? Know all of their works, read a lot of their books. The one constant that I see with all, I guess each one kind of has a specialty. Like you look at Gary Vaynerchuk, for example, right? Obviously his specialty is marketing, but he has that edge to him where he'll also kind of veer off the marketing advertising path and talk about some life stuff, right?
Yeah, talk about how to raise your kids. He'll talk about
right. He'll throw a little bit out there, right? Like that, exactly. Tony Robbins, same kind of category, obviously super positive, amazing, motivational, get you pumped up out of your seat, cheering, walking on, coals and all this crazy shit. I think sometimes people they might be crushing it in those specific categories, but there might be a category that one of those speakers maybe they're still working on, So they don't really cover that category per se. Like,
so this is why I do like Tony Robbins though, because I do when you go to a Tony Robbins event,
big time,
the first one, they're gonna sell you like, okay, you decide where you want to go. Do you want to go to the business mastery? You can go to business mastery. Do you want to go to like self mastery or like they have right? So that
is really cool that they do it like that.
Yeah. So they break it down into like further things and they bring in.
Which one
experts.
Did you start with?
I've only been to UPW, Unleash the Power Within, right?
Okay.
I was always too broke to buy the next dude. Like you're talking about like 8 racks. I didn't have it at that time.
Yeah.
But even just the UPW was valuable, and I think like in the future I'll definitely go.
Yeah.
But yeah. So coming back to what you were saying,
no, I just like I said, like these what I've discovered is just like people are usually crushing it in 1 to 2 categories out of these 10. And I got this, like I said, I did a bunch of research from other people that have kind of written about this over the decades, right? So I didn't make these categories up out of thin air, right? Yeah. In some cases, it was like a lot of information, and I compact it and condense it so I can make it digestible for people, right? And so what I found in just having conversations and putting it out there is usually people are crushing it in somewhere between 2 and 3 categories, and then the other areas of their life, like, yeah, man, I really got to work on that, that part of my life, let's not talk about that, like someone usually has that kind of energy about it. Yeah. And that's where I'm like, well, hey, when you're ready, because a person has to be ready to take that leap, right? You had to be ready to make that investment to go to unleash the power within, right? And you had to step up, and that's part of the investment too. Is like he knows psychologically if you're gonna put that kind of money up, you're really ready to make that investment in yourself.
You're gonna take it way more serious.
Exactly. Yeah. So even though everything I'm putting on my YouTube channel right now is free and whatever, it's not even about monetization. I don't give a shit about any of that. At this point, I just want people to feel like this can be a place where I can just be like vocal about the areas of my life that like I want to stop, like, because we only got so much time on the track. You know what I'm saying? Like you look at, like, that's the one video. If you go on the channel right now, you'll see there's a video of this guy. I don't know who this guy is, but I came across this video and it's fucking mind blowing. He literally took a piece of paper and he wrote like every 10 years with a black felt pen. You don't even see the guy's face. You just see his hand writing like 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30. And he's like, here's all the years that you're going to spend working. Usually probably in a job that you fucking hate, Yeah. And then he's like, so it's like you're a kid and you have some fun. Then you have all this block of time where you work, probably in a job you don't like, which sucks for most people.
Yeah.
And then if you're lucky, you get like a little sliver of maybe a decade at the very end of your life where you're quote unquote retired, but then your body's all broken down. You can't do shit.
Yeah.
You're not going to go lay out by the beach and like, hit on, that smoking hot guy or that smoking hot girl, cause it's like, you're like in a wheelchair, you're all fucking hunched over and you're whatever. Right. So it's like the whole point is like the guy's message was just like, be aware of like your timeline, be aware of your time track and how much time you're investing in things and what you're investing in. Right. And so back to my point, a lot of people are crushing it like in 2 or 3 things, maybe their health, maybe their love, maybe their family, but then these other things, career or spirituality, and I don't want to talk about that. It's like, well, dude, you can keep saying you don't want to talk about it, but the times keep moving. The clock is still ticking, and you don't know when your time is up. So if you are really interested in confronting that thing and actually like turning that thing, like with me with friendships, I was sick and tired of not getting people. I was sick and tired of not having friends. Yeah. I was like, dude, I don't have any friends, man. I was tired of that. And I could have just been like, well, at some point in my future, I'll make some new friends. Yeah. But I was like, no, I need to fucking take a stand right now. I need to start putting myself out there. I need to be okay with like connecting with people that they might not be my friend because I don't know who they are yet. But then through that process, I met really cool people, and then now I have friends. And it's like I turn that ship around, right? So it's like if a person's really willing and ready to turn it around and confront that thing, then cool. They can come to this channel. They can start putting some information out there, get connected to somebody else that's strong in that area. Maybe they can become friends. It's not even about me.
Yeah.
Right. But if they want to give me a shout out, I'll say, yeah, what's up? You know, so I hang out.
So here's the thing, right? So what the beautiful thing about this, there's going to be a byproduct that happens of this, right? You're not doing this for the money. You're doing this to make a change. You're doing this to like, you genuinely care about helping people.
I view this as like my real true life's work. You know, AdSemble is something that's been a huge blessing in my life. I love what I do at AdSemble and help people with advertising and marketing. But what I feel like I've been enlightened with all of this, this is like my legacy life work. I want people to be like, Matthew put this information out there to help people, and it's fucking awesome.
So look, check this out. So I'm gonna paint a picture for you, right? Because when the message is good, people will follow, right? Jesus.
Amen.
You know, and then many other world leaders, right?
Sure,
Martin Luther King, right?
Absolutely.
I have a dream.
Amazing.
You know, there's so many world leaders that, you know, they believed in something, they fought for it, and people followed. And what's really cool about the internet now is that people will follow. You know, the multiplication of the internet is crazy, right? So, you know, Life Warriors catches on fire. 10,000 members, right?
Sure.
There comes a point in time where you're gonna have to make a decision,
right?
Where it's like, okay, I've been bringing value to these people. Now it's time for even more value. Yeah. So now it's like, okay, the Life Warriors retreat. The Life Warriors, right? And then those things, it's like, you can't just do them for free.
Right.
Yeah, you go through the stress and the trouble and putting together the team and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what's cool is like, I could totally like envision this happening or getting to a place where, you know, you're really bringing people together and having events, and who knows, dude, writing a book, you know, maybe you might be on that shelf.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah. I actually do have, I've started a manuscript for this. I've started the process of kind of formulating this into a book. Don't have a timeline yet, like when it will be completed or when it will be out. But, you know, people have, when I've mentioned this or shown them this, they've said similar things. They said, you should really pull all this together in something that people could pick up and read, because you'll reach a greater audience and this and that. So I'm in contact right now with a couple of companies that do the kind of publishing and stuff like that. And they've given me some intro pointers. Okay, you know, put it together this way, start with this, and then come back to us. So it's a work in progress. It's a very new thing, I'd say. I like if you go on the channel right now, it's almost all the videos are of me in these categories, and they're various lengths. Some of them are 30 seconds long, they're reels. Other ones are, you know, 10 minutes long. You know, it's just like, if I was just freestyling in my car and I just felt like I just want to say something, I'll just keep talking and, you know, different stuff. But where I want to keep it growing is like bringing in videos from other experts and stuff like that. And yeah, at some point in the future, could there be the concept of retreat and this and that? Sure. I mean, I'm open to all possibilities, all things. But I will say 100% where my heart is about it right now has absolutely nothing to do with, you know, monetization. It's just straight up like make it a place where people can like get empowered, level up, grow, you know, in areas where they're weak, and like live a more prosperous, full life. I think that benefits everyone. And like I said, I've been blessed and staying very busy with AdSemble and billboard advertising campaigns. So like, you know, as far as money is concerned, like that checkbox is being covered by that, right? So it's I don't need to like kind of like, oh, how can I, you know, make money off this? But if people want to get together and do something like that, I'm all ears. You know, maybe let some people speak up and say, hey, can we, you know, champion that and do that? And so I'd be like,
you know what you do? You charge people, and then you give. You charge people, and then you give it all away.
There you go. Okay. All right. I'm gonna come see you when we get to that point in time, man. Say, Anthony, help me out with this, man.
Yeah. What do I got? Dude, I got like all this.
Dude, I need to get that book, man. That book looks fire.
Yeah, I would give it to you, but I just got it. Dude, you know, I'm very big. Lolo gets mad at me because I always give all my shit away all the time. Like, dude, like
you got a heart of gold, man.
It
come back to you. It come back to you, right? When you're giving like that, the universe always rewards you at some other point down the road.
Well, yeah, dude, it comes back to your point, right? Like making it is one thing, giving it away is what makes you happy.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So
I'll never forget that, man. Trippy as shit though, sitting on that airplane in first class and actually not feeling miserable. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I thought this is what everyone worked so hard for. Like, how am I not happy right now? Like, it was just nuts, dude. But it's such a, like, an epiphany moment in my life that I'll never forget.
So now I want you, so we're getting close to the end here.
Cool.
But so, okay. There's younger entrepreneurs who are listening to this, and not younger in age, younger in their journey.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Who, you know, we both understand what it's like to have a void, right? Where we think like, okay, we think that building the business and making all the money and the things that come with the money is going to fulfill us, but we figured out like it's not.
Yep.
Right.
Correct.
So, you know, someone who's starting that entrepreneurial journey, you know, what advice do you give them so that they don't, you know, they don't feel a void along the way?
Right. Definitely keep the people, you know, family is an interesting term because different people have different definitions of the word family. Some people grew up in a household where, you know, they had a mother and a father that stayed married the whole time and a brother and sister, and like that family unit is like kind of like that textbook definition of family. Other people grew up in a place where like maybe they just had like an uncle or something like that, and that person or an aunt took care of them, like was there for every single baseball game, you know, and like when I think of family, I think of just that person, right, or something like that. So other people had just had like a close knit group of friends, and that was their quote unquote family. So when I say the term "stay close to your family," that's what I mean. Stay close to the people that have had your back, but when you were a nobody. Because if your product or brand or your service catches fire and takes off and becomes the next, you know, Facebook or the next Instagram or the next whatever, like huge thing, you're going to instantly be inundated with a lot of people that are maybe possibly in your life for the wrong reasons. Yeah. And staying grounded internally with the people that knew you and loved you when you didn't have anything, those people will be there to kind of help you through that process. And you know, kind of the old saying of that hip hop song, right? Check yourself before you wreck yourself, right? so you know, yeah. So
chickadee, check yourself.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, you know, stay humble, stay close to your family, the people that loved you, that looked out for you, like, you know, before you had everything. And then also watch out for like just greed. Watch out for greed, man, because greed has a way of getting a hold of people and, you know, changing them. I've seen it like in so many people. You know, they got a little taste of that money and all of a sudden they thought they were the shit, and, you know, and then they wanted more of it. They were willing to do scandalous stuff to get more of it. And it's crazy, man.
Well, there's that saying, right? Money, people think that money changes you. Money doesn't change you. Right. Money makes you more of who you actually are.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's why they call it currency, because it's got a charge to it. So the currency, right?
Oh, interesting.
It's got think of like an electric charge, right? So money known as currency, right? So it's going to amplify what you already are. So if you were a bad person with $1 million, you can be a real fucking shitty person. If you were if you're Mother Teresa and I give you $1 million, think of all the good that she can do with that. Right. So it's going to amplify who you already are. You're correct.
I've never heard that. That's good.
There you go.
That's good.
Let's go. Let's go.
All right. And dude, that was really good. So now, if somebody does want to get a hold of you, what's the best way to do so?
I mean, you could find me on all social media under my full name, Matteo Olivieri, including the Life Warriors thing. Just look for Matteo Olivieri on YouTube. That'll pop up. And then I think I can give you my email and stuff for the show notes and all that.
Yeah, totally. We'll put those, dude.
Social media is the easiest way because I'm all my contact information is on all my social channels, IG, you know, Twitter, all that different stuff. But happy to share the email too on the show notes.
And also too, Matteo, I keep switching back and forth. Yeah. But he's actually he has another podcast too. So you want to?
Yeah. So in our company Ad Symbol, we have a podcast called the Ad Hero Podcast. So my colleague Gino and I are the co-hosts of that. We've been doing that for several years now. It's grown. We actually just found we're starting to get subs on Spotify, which I didn't even know Spotify has that.
What? Oh, subscriber. Oh,
paid subscribers on Spotify.
Really?
I didn't even know they had that shit.
Wow.
And he told me the other day, he's like, dude, we're like we just got like 20 more the other day. And I was like, what? Like, and you can pay at like various different levels. So people are just like, you know, like supporting it. And I was like, okay, I guess people are digging the content. But we cover a multitude of things. Primarily marketing, advertising is our main focal point. But we have a little fun on the show. You know, we're both comic book nerds and stuff like that. So we talk about Marvel movies, throw a little bit of that in there.
Yeah.
You know, we kind of mix it up a little bit, but our banter is, I think, what makes the show kind of interesting. So you can find that on Spotify under the Ad Hero Podcast.
Done.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for coming, brother.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you. All right.